Hello, welcome to the Flightline Fire Extinguisher video. Today we're going to be discussing the Halon 1211 150-pound Flightline extinguisher. The Halon Flightline extinguisher is not unlike the extinguishers that you're familiar with within your buildings, the little handheld ones that are hanging on the wall near your workplace. They operate under the same basic principle. But there are a couple of items that you need to be familiar with to be able to place this extinguisher in operation. First of all, when you see a fire within the Flightline, you need to position the extinguisher properly. Wheel it up within about 30 feet of your fire, set it upright in the position that we see here, and then check your gauges to ensure first that you have agent in the cylinder, and second, that you have pressure to expel that agent. At that point, pull your nozzle off of its keeper and pull all of the hose off of the extinguisher. The reason that you do that is so that when you charge the system, you'll be able to use all of that hose and have enough hose to actually fight your fire. When you're ready to charge the system, pull the little safety pin straight out. The plastic tie will break. At that point, you can grab the nozzle and rotate it forward to charge the system. At that point, you position to where you're actually going to start fighting the fire, get a firm grip on the nozzle, and get a firm footing on the ground. If it happens to be winter and you're on snow and ice, the recoil pressure from the extinguisher could cause you to slip and fall. So be careful. Move your nozzle back and forth rapidly from side to side. What you are attempting to do is to surround your fire, confine it, and control it. At that point, your fire will then go out. In review, remember to position the extinguisher properly in the upright position. Check your gauges to ensure the cylinder is full and you have pressure to discharge the agent. Then pull all of the hose off the extinguisher, get a firm grip, fight the fire aggressively, and if you do so, then it will be you that will actually save the government hundreds of dollars and possibly a human life. Welcome to Fire Extinguisher Training. Today we're going to take a look at the different fire extinguishers that you could run into within your Air Force career, how to place those extinguishers into operation and use them most effectively, and how to decide which extinguishers are good for what type of fire that you may have. We'll also discuss briefly the fire reporting procedures that you need to know to be able to notify the fire department. To begin with, when we start thinking that we're going to be needing a fire extinguisher and actually using it on a fire, we need to first know what type of a fire we actually have. When the manufacturers built these extinguishers, they were built to put out certain types of fires, and not all extinguishers will put out all types of fires. So it is critical that we know what kind of fire is actually burning. Well, fires have been classified into 4 categories: Class A, Class B, C, and D. Class A is your ordinary combustible materials, those items that are around you all of the time, every single day. They could be wood, paper, textile, carpet, clothes, any of the items that we normally see within our everyday existence. Class B is your flammable liquids, gasolines, paint thinners. Anything that is in a liquid state and has a flash point is a Class B material. And Class C is your energized electrical equipment. Anytime you have an electrical current flowing to the seat of your fire, it is a Class C fire. If someone was to go and shut a breaker box off and cut that electrical power off, that fire reverts back to a Class A fire, provided there's no flammable liquid involved. It's only a C when you've got energized electrical current flowing to that fire. And Class D is your flammable metals, magnesium, titanium, zirconium, the kind of items that we are placing on our aircraft and that we're using and working with within our work centers. Okay? Once you know what material is actually burning, you can then take a quick look at your fire extinguisher and determine if that extinguisher will work on the kind of fire that you have. On the label of the fire extinguishers, they list the classes of fires that that extinguisher will work on, Class A, B, C, and or D. They also have picture symbols that will let you know what fire that extinguisher will put out. A Class A fire has a trash can or a campfire. A Class B fire shows a gasoline can, and a Class C fire shows an electrical cord. And Class D is your flammable metals. And we won't discuss that one today, but we will discuss the others. The extinguishers are also rated with a numerical rating, which is 2A, 20BC, or something similar. What that refers to is how much fire that extinguisher will put out. For example, if you have a 20BC extinguisher, it will put out 20 times as much fire as a 1BC, and that's all that it means. And this is a rating that the manufacturers have placed upon these extinguishers. Now let's take a look at the extinguishers that you could use within your Air Force career. The first is the stored pressure water extinguisher. This extinguisher is nothing more than a great big squirt gun. It's filled with water, and air pressure is introduced to be able to supply the pressure needed to squirt the water out of the extinguisher. This is about a 2.5 gallon extinguisher. It is used on Class A material only. It is good on Class A because it gets right down to the seat of the fire, breaks up that burning material, and actually cools it down below its ignition temperature and extinguishes it. It is ineffective on other classes of fires. If you were to use this extinguisher on a Class B fire, for example, you would run the risk of splashing the flammable liquid and making your fire bigger. Do not use this extinguisher on a Class C fire, energized electrical equipment. Water is a good conductor of electricity, and you're running the risk of electrocuting yourself if you were to try to use this extinguisher on a Class C fire. Use it on A only. The next extinguisher is the CO2, or the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is an excellent agent to use on Class C material, energized electrical. It will put out a Class C fire very quickly and very effectively. It works well on Class B fires, but the problem is that when the agent is discharged from the nozzle, the pressure is so great that if you get too close to your fire, you're also running the risk of splashing the liquid. So be very, very cautious. Carbon dioxide also presents a hazard to you, the user, in that it is extremely cold. If you were to grab the large cone on the nozzle, you could literally run the risk of freezing your hand to the cone. It is so cold. So be very cautious where you aim it and how you handle that particular extinguisher. The next extinguisher is the halon extinguisher, the halon 1211. This extinguisher has been classified as a hazardous material and is being pulled off the market. But you may still run into this type of extinguisher within your career. If so, be very, very cautious with it. It is good on the three main classes of fires, Class A, B, and C. But the way it extinguishes the fire is it breaks up the chemical chain reaction and inhibits the burning process. And in so doing, it also takes the oxygen away from the fire. Well, if you're in an enclosed space, It also takes the oxygen away from you as the user. So only use it in an open area where it is safe to do so. The fourth extinguisher is the multi-purpose dry chemical extinguisher. This extinguisher is the predominant extinguisher that you're going to have within your work centers. It is an excellent extinguishing agent. It's a powder that is inside the canister, and when it is discharged, it comes out as a powder. It works great on the three main classes of fires, class A, B, and C, and will put the fire out fairly quickly. When you use any of these extinguishers, think of the acronym PASS, which stands for pull the pin, aim the extinguisher at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep the nozzle back and forth. Now when you fight your fire, you need to fight it aggressively. Squeeze the handle all the way down, hold the end of your nozzle, and whip the nozzle back and forth. What you're trying to do is get the agent to sweep around the perimeters of your fire and actually cut it off, surround it, confine it, and extinguish it. Each of the extinguishers' ranges are different, and you need to be familiar with that. The stored pressure water extinguisher's range is from about 15 to 20 feet. You can stand that distance away from your fire, discharge your agent, and then move in on it as the fire gets smaller. The CO2 dissipates so rapidly in the air that you have to get extremely close to your fire, like within 2 to 1 feet away from the fire to be effective. So remember that the CO2 can be a little bit more hazardous just from the fact that you're that much closer to your fire. The halon and the dry chemical distances are basically the same. You can stand back about 10 to 15 feet, discharge your agent. As your fire gets smaller, walk in a little bit closer and put the fire out without putting yourself at risk. Never use the extinguisher without first notifying your fire department. You should look at 4 things in the notification process. First is evacuate the building. And the way you evacuate the buildings that you work in is by pulling a pull box that's located by the exit doors. When you do so, it sends in alarms throughout the entire building and lets everybody in that building know they need to escape. It also sends in a code to the local fire department and lets them know that there is a problem in that building and they can immediately start to respond to your location. The second thing is to notify the fire department. And as we said, when you pull the pull box, you are notifying the fire department. But in addition to that, give us a call on the local telephone system on 911, which is the emergency reporting number, and let us know that you have a problem. Give us your name, give us the location that you're at, tell us where in the building you are at, tell us what type of fire is burning, and tell us all of the particulars that are going on with your particular emergency so that we can respond to it in a better and more expedient manner. The third thing, and that's what the extinguishers are for, is to try to extinguish that fire, again, if it is small, confined, and is not going anywhere. If you doubt the extinguisher's ability to put out the fire you have, don't even attempt it. Let the fire department worry about it. And the fourth thing is once you're outside into a safe area, wait and meet the fire equipment as they're coming in and go to the individual that's in charge. Let them again know what's burning and where it's located at. And also, if any of your people are missing, let them know this so that the chief can tell the rescue crew to go inside and start looking for individuals that may not be there. Fire extinguishers are simple to use, and you can save the government thousands and thousands of dollars by using them quickly and effectively if you remember the acronym PASS. Pull the pin, aim the extinguisher at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep the nozzle back and forth, and your fire will quickly go out.